As we get started, take out your speed drill and review exercise booklets. Turn to page 8. Speed drill review exercise booklets, page 8. And we're going to do exercise 8 at the top of the page. We have been practicing with calculating speed. We've been calculating distance. Today we're going to take the same basic stuff and calculate time. And it says here, as you can read for yourself, the time it takes an object to cover a particular distance is found by dividing that distance by the speed at which the object was traveling. In other words, time equals distance divided by speed. Units of distance must match. So pretty much, it's a lot of division. Okay, you may want extra paper as you do this division, or if you write small, maybe you can fit it in there. But you have 6 problems to solve. Notice again, it says the units of distance must match. So as we look at problem 1, we have miles and miles per hour. But if you go down to the bottom row, we have miles and feet per second. Oh. In the next one, we have yards and feet per second. That doesn't match. You have to make them match before you do the division. All right, there we go. Exercise 8. Go ahead and get started. Once you finish, put your pencil down, look up this way so I know that you are finished. Obviously, the time answer is going to match whatever component of time is in the speed, right? So if it's miles per hour, your answer would be hours. If it's feet per second, your answer would be in seconds, right? Just another minute or so to be finishing up.
This, but then like the answer's not matching up.
Do your best. We'll go over it in a minute. Still on the first one? That's pathetic. If you're stuck on one, you move on. You don't get stuck on anything. Don't do that. All right, let's take a look at these together. And the first one, we said that an object apparently travels 5,684 miles at a rate of 784 miles per hour. And I gave you the equation. All you have to do, class, is divide the distance by the speed. So we take the distance and we divide it by the speed. And what do we use for our estimator here, class? 8. And we ask ourselves, how many times does 8 go into 56? And the answer, of course, class, is 7. And so I have 1, 2, 3 digits, 1 collectively, 2, 3 digits. I put the 7 here to multiply. 7 times 4. 28. We carry the 2. 7 times 8 plus 2.
58.
58. We carry the 5. 7 times 7 plus 5. 54. And we subtract. Of course, we're going to have to borrow from the 8, make it a 7. 14 minus 8. 6. 7 minus 8. No, borrow. 17 minus 8. 9. And 5 minus 4. 1. And at this point, we could write a fraction and try to reduce it. Yeah, or we could add a decimal and a couple of zeros. And we could keep going and see what happens here. I'll do that. Let's add a 0 and a decimal. How many times does 8 go into 19, class?
2.
2. 2 times 4?
8.
2 times 8?
16.
Someone besides Hayden can answer. 2 times 7 plus 1? 15. We subtract. Let's see. Borrow here. 10 minus 8?
2.
Borrow again. 15 minus 6?
9.
9. 8 minus 5?
3.
3. Add another 0. How many times does 8 go into 39?
5.
Almost 5, right? And it's not quite an 8. Let's try a 5. 5 times 4. Carry the 2. 5 times 8 plus 2.
42.
Carry the 4. 5 times 7 plus 4.
39.
There we go. Comes out to a nice, easy, and it could have, by the way, that fraction would have apparently reduced to 1/4. Maybe we would have figured that out, or maybe 7.25. Now, we're finding time. What's time going to be measured in here, class? Hours, because it was miles per hour. So 7.25 hours is our answer. Looking at the next one, we're traveling 27 miles at a rate of 54 miles per hour. What do we need to do, class? Divide the 27 by the 54. But 54 is bigger than 27, right? You have an option here. Instead of actually dividing, what's another way we can show division, say, in algebra? Fraction bar. And if instead of dividing with a division house, we divide with a fraction bar, maybe we see we could reduce by taking a 9 out, for instance, to get 3/6. Well, we know that reduces to a half an hour. And frankly, if you just think about it, if you're going 54 miles per hour, that means 54 miles every single hour, how long would it take to go only 27 miles? Half of an hour, right? So it makes total sense. Looking at the next one, 1,748 miles at a rate of 437 miles per hour. Again, you divide. This one works out evenly, class. 4 hours, good Evie. What about 665 miles at a rate of 17.5 miles per hour? Can we divide by a decimal, class? No. So when I set up my 665 divided by 17.5, I'm going to move that point over, make this a 175. But what else do I have to do? Put a 0 in here as well. And then when we do our division, it comes out evenly to, anyone? 38 hours. Did you say 38? Sound like 30. Okay, 38 hours. Let's come to the last one here. Our last row here says half a mile at a rate of 12 feet per second. Well, we got a problem. Either I have to make my half a mile into feet to match the other feet, or I need to make my 12 feet into miles. Which one sounds easier?
Mile and feet.
Let's turn the half a mile into feet, because we know that 1 mile class is how many feet? 5,280. So if we cut that in half, anyone?
2,640.
2,640 feet at 12 feet per second, as opposed to making this some crazy decimal. Does that make sense? So then we'll just divide that by the 12. And 12 goes into 26. 2 times with 2 left, 12 goes into 24. 2 times with nothing left, 12 goes into 0. 12 goes into 0? 0, okay. And then what's my unit for my time?
Feet.
No, time.
Seconds.
220 seconds. I suppose you could say that's 3 minutes, 40 seconds. I just leave the 220 seconds because I'm lazy. How many got that answer? All right, nobody. Does it make sense now? All right, so for instance, look at the next one. 7.8 yards at a rate of 6 feet per second. I either need to turn the yards into feet, or I need to take the 6 feet and turn it into yards. At your seats. Redo it if you didn't already change one of those. If you've already done it, you're like, I think I got this one. Just sit there for a moment and wait. Let the rest of you go ahead and rework it. You gotta make the units match. I'm curious, Hayden, which one did you do?
I think just the easier.
I think that's the easy way, because 6 feet easily becomes... Never mind.
Huh?
How many yards is 6 feet? 2 yards.
Oh.
Never mind, redo it. Just went backwards there. So yeah, so I think the easy way here is 7.8 yards at 2 yards per second. Because now, class, I just divide 7.8 by 2. And 2 goes into 7? 3 times with 1 left over. 2 goes into 18. 9 times. And what's the unit for my answer? Seconds. 3.9 seconds. The other option, how many feet is 7.8 yards? Anyone do it that way? Nobody did it that way? You could do it that way and make it 23.4 feet and then divide that by 6. You get the same answer either way, but I like dividing by the 2. How many got the 3.9 seconds now when you redid it? All right, questions on this, because this is stuff you're going to see next year in physical science as you work with speed of objects and stuff, is making units match and then dividing to find time. Any questions on exercise 8? How many remember doing this last year in basic math, working with speed, distance, time? All right, here's some good review for us. All right, go and pass those forward if you would, please. And take out your homework. Books open at page 112. Books open at page 112. You did the review section, or the homework section, numbers 1 through 27. Page 112, the homework, numbers 1 through 27. And we're working with signed numbers. And if we want to add signed numbers, we have to consider whether the signs are the same or different. Class, when adding signed numbers, if the signs are the same, what should we do?
Add.
And keep the sign. Add and keep sign. Let's start that in unison instead of just like sporadic answers. So class, if we're adding signed numbers and the signs are the same, we should add and keep the sign. Okay, if the signs are different and we're trying to add the signed numbers, we should subtract and take the sign of the greater absolute value. But when you multiply signed numbers, if the signs are the same, just get positive.
You get positive.
And if the signs are different,
You get a negative.
just get a negative. Super easy. If you're dividing signed numbers and the signs are the same, you get a positive. If you're dividing signed numbers and the signs are different, you get a negative. If you're multiplying signed numbers and there's a number of different factors, you would just count up how many negatives. Good, Danielle. Negatives you would get. And if it happens to have an odd number of negatives, negative. And if you have an even number of negatives, positive. If you happen to have an exponent on a negative, and the exponent is odd, you get a negative because that means you have an odd number of negatives. If you happen to have an exponent on a negative, and the exponent is odd, class, you'll get a negative, because an odd number of negatives gives a negative. But if you have an exponent on a negative, and it happens to be even, class, you'll get a positive, because it means you have an even number of negatives. What if you're subtracting signed numbers?
You don't subtract.
We don't subtract. No, he's like shaking his head over here. Good. We don't subtract. No. What do we do, class? Add the inverse. Add the inverse. So if you're subtracting a negative, no, you're adding a positive. If you're subtracting a positive, no, you're adding a negative. And we were practicing with all of this in the homework on page 112. Let's take a look at that together here in just a moment, after I make sure that we have worked all of these through. Good. Bueno. See. All right. Number one. When we multiply 6 times negative 2, what do we get, Glenn? Oh, Glenn. Signs are different. Negative 12. There we go. How about number 2 when we multiply those signed numbers? Evie.
36.
Positive 36. Number 3, Aubrey. Negative 18. Number 4, Lexi.
32.
Positive 32. Number 5, Danielle. Negative 9. Good. Number 6, Michael. Negative 10. Number 7, we've got multiple factors. Glenn. He's Glenn. Hayden.
95.
Ooh, close. We will come to Glenn. Positive 90. So you got the positive, but 90 when you multiply. I would start, by the way, with the 5 times 2 to get 10 times 9 is 90. As opposed to the 45 times 2. Obviously, same answer, but we memorized 10 times 9. Number 8, back to Hayden for redemption.
150.
Positive 150. Number 9, Evie.
6.
Positive 6. Number 10, Lexi.
Negative 80.
Negative 80. Very good. Number 11, Danielle. Negative 2. Number 12, Aubrey.
5.
Positive 5. Number 13, Michael.
6. No, we said number 13.
Number 13.
Negative 81.
Well, you're right about the 81, because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. But we've got a negative to an even power, which means we technically have 4 negatives here. And if there's 4 negatives, that's an even number of negatives, so we should have a positive 81. How about number 14? Back to Michael for redemption.
32.
Well, how many negatives do we have?
Negative 32.
5, so that's odd. So does that make sense now, though? Again, that's the point of the homework, right, is to give you a chance to make some mistakes, give us a chance to correct the mistakes. Number 15 is a fun one. Hayden?
Negative 36.
Good. Now, initially, you're squaring a negative 6, which means you have 2 negatives, which gives you a positive 36. But then there's that negative sitting in front of everything, which technically means negative 1. Times your positive 36 does give, great job, negative 36. How about number 16? What do we get here, Aubrey?
Positive 3.
Well, careful. What's 1 times 1 times 1?
3.
Now it's 1 plus 1 plus 1. What about 1 times 1 times 1? 1, yeah. So you're right about the sign. The hard part was the sign, and you got that part right, because you cube a negative 1, you have an odd number of negatives, which gives you negative. Then you multiply that by the negative to get the positive, but we should have gotten a positive 1, because 1 cubed is 1. If you want to write this in the side margin, 1 to any power equals 1, right? Because no matter how many times you multiply 1 by itself, it always just stays 1. Let's see, questions on, actually, let's do this first. Anyone go 16 for 16? Wow, several of you. Anyone missed just 1 out of 16? You went 15 for 16? 14 for 16? All right, several. All right, so the couple that we missed, do we understand them? All right, great job on that then. Well, you only missed a couple. That means we're in good shape. Number 17 through 22, filling in the missing signed number. And number 17, what do we fill in, Lexi?
4.
A positive 4, because we need the signs to stay different to produce the negative. What about on number 18, Michael? Negative 2, because we need a matching sign to give us the positive. What about number 19, Evie?
3.
A positive 3, so that we have different signs to produce that negative. What about on number 20, Danielle? We need a positive 40, so that we have different signs to end up with the negative. What about number 21, Hayden?
Negative 11.
Negative 11. We need to divide the negative by another negative, so the signs will be the same to get us the positive quotient. And number 22, Glenn? Negative 27, so we'll have different signs to produce the negative quotient there. How many went 6 for 6 on the middle section? All right, 5 out of 6, just missed 1. 4 out of 6. Questions? Any questions on the middle section? Let's take a look at the word problems and go ahead and read number 23. Anyone bake in here? Like, you bake? All right, Hayden bakes. All right, Hayden, number 23.
Warm cake placed in the refrigerator is cooling at a rate of negative 2.3 degrees Fahrenheit per minute. Cake is 100 degrees Fahrenheit when it is placed in the refrigerator. When the temperature of the cake, if it has been, what is the temperature of the cake if it has been in the refrigerator for 5 minutes?
I don't know if any of you have ever done this, or maybe your parents have done this. You got something, you maybe microwave something, you over microwave it, and it's way too hot. Anyone ever put it in the freezer for a few minutes to try to cool it down?
But you're not supposed to.
Probably shouldn't. It's not super, but hey, your mouth is on fire, so you're going to do what you got to do. So anyway, that's what we've got here, the warm cake at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which isn't that hot, frankly, okay? But they put it in the refrigerator. 5 minutes later, it's like, wait, no, we didn't want to put it in the fridge. So you pull it back out. What's the temperature now? Well, every minute, the temperature is going to drop 2.3 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what the negative tells us. So for 5 minutes, what should we do here, Hayden?
Multiply 2.3 times 5.
And when we do, what do we get for our cooling?
11.5.
Right, negative 11.5 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to tack that on to the 100, and we have a positive 100 with a negative 11.5. What's the final temperature of our cake?
88.5. Degrees Fahrenheit.
There we go, 88.5 degrees Fahrenheit. How many have that answer on number 23? Questions on number 23. All right, number 24. I would ask if any of you fly a plane, but that would be really scary if any of you did. Anyone want to fly a plane one day? All right, Glenn, go ahead and read this one for us.
After reaching the recommended altitude, the flight's computer record recorded the following changes in the altitude: positive 100 meters, negative 38 meters, 12 meters, negative 12 meters, positive 15 meters, negative 5 meters, and positive 8 meters. Is the plane now above or below its recommended altitude?
All right, so plane goes to proper altitude, and then it goes positive 100 meters. What does that mean, class?
It goes up 100.
It goes up 100 meters higher than it's recommended necessarily. Probably not a problem. That's not that far. Then negative 98 meters. What does that mean?
It goes back down 98 meters.
Yeah, so it's going to drop 98 meters from that point, right? Okay, so it's still above the recommended altitude. Then the negative 12 means
It drops another 12.
12 more meters down, and so on and so forth. So I don't know if there's like turbulence, or maybe this is Glenn flying the plane, and he's just all over the place. How many would ride in the plane that Glenn was piloting? How many are like, not on your life, I don't trust him? All right, so guys trust Glenn and the ladies don't. All right, so anyway, what would be the easiest way to solve this though? As opposed to tracking the change over and over one at a time, what's the easy way to do this, Michael?
Add all the negatives together and then out all the positives.
Yeah, let's get all the positives together, all the negatives together. So we only have to do one single subtraction. So when I add all the positives, the 100, the 15, the 8 class, that gives me positive 123 meters. And then when I get all the negatives together, the negative 98, the negative 12, and the negative 5, that gives me
Negative 15.
negative 115 meters. Now we'll only have to do one subtraction, and we get what?
Positive 8.
Positive 8 meters, which means, is the plane now above or below its recommended altitude?
Above.
It is still slightly above the recommended altitude. How many got that on number 24? And again, you would get the same thing if you went up 100, down 98 puts us at positive 2, down 12 puts us at negative 10, positive 15 puts us at positive 5, negative 5 puts us back down to recommended altitude, positive. You could track it that way. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's quicker. And I'm lazy. Questions on that one? All right, numbers 25 through 27. Number 25, how should I rewrite that one, Danielle?
4 plus positive.
Which gives us?
Negative 13. Wait, no, positive.
Positive 13. Good. 4 plus positive 9 gives positive 13. Numbers 26, most of it is written without any parentheses, but there's a little bit in there. How should I rewrite the whole thing parenthesis free, Lexi?
Negative 12. Negative 10. Negative 15. Positive 4. Negative 1.
Perfect. Everything just stays the same except where it said minus negative 4, we write a positive 4. And pretty much everything's negative, right? So if I get all my negativeness together, class, it gives me a total of negative 38. Put that with a positive 4, Lexi, for a final answer of?
Negative 34.
How many at negative 34 for the answer on number 26? Questions on that one? And number 27, how would I write this without parentheses, Glenn?
82, negative 6, positive 11, negative 8, negative 4, and positive 7.
There we go. So I have a positive here, a positive here, a positive here. Let's get these two positives together.
20.
and put a positive 7 with that.
28, no,
29 and 7 more?
36.
36, there we go. So we got a positive 36. And we get all the negatives together. Let's start with the 6 and the 8.
14,
And then one more.
18,
So we have negative 15. We put it all together. What do we get for our answer?
21.
Positive 21. How many have positive 21 for the answer there? Questions on 27? Questions? All right, turn over to page 121 if you would, please. Page 121 in your textbooks.
Oh, boy.
And let's go and do a little bit of review here. Numbers 1 through 8. Let's go with 1 through 6 first of all, just kind of work our way through here. Number 1, according to order of operations, which operation is done at the same time as division, class?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. Number 2, what should be done first in 3 times 2 plus 1 minus 7, class?
2 plus 1.
The 2 plus 1, the parentheses. Good. Number 3, what property of arithmetic is demonstrated in problem number 3? Let's go to Lexi.
Distributive.
The distributive property. Very good. Number 4, what property is being seen here in number 4? Michael.
Associative.
The associative property. Number 5, how would we write 3 minus 10 as an addition problem? Now, technically, I look at it as an addition problem, but how would we write 3 minus 10 as an addition problem? Hayden?
3 plus negative 10.
3 plus negative 10. I already look at it as a 3 and a negative 10 anyway, but 3 plus parentheses negative 10, I guess. Number 6, when a negative number is divided by a negative number, what is the sign of the quotient, class?
Positive.
Positive. Number 7, we haven't gotten to this yet, but I'm just curious. We're going to get to this on Monday. I'm just curious if you can figure out what the next number would have to be. This is kind of like what we did on your cognitive abilities tests, right? Yeah, for those who remember taking those the last couple of years. What would that next number be, Michael? 11. What's the pattern here, Michael?
3.
We're just adding 3 to every number. What about number 8? What would be the next term in this sequence? Glenn? A positive 16, because we keep doing what? Well, not quite by 2. By negative 2, right? Because we keep changing the sign every other term. Good. How many also saw it was 11 and 16 for those two? If you didn't, it's no big deal. We'll talk about that coming up on Monday. But just a kind of a preview of what's coming. All right, I want you to do numbers 9 through 16 at your seats, practicing with order of operations. 9 through 16, practicing again with order of operations. Several people finishing up. Take just a few more minutes to work. For sake of time, pencils down, even if you're not finished. I didn't put all of them at the board, but I put the ones that I thought might present the greatest challenge at the board. I also want to point out that there are places where you could combine steps and go a little bit quicker. But for sake of showing it on the board, I did not combine steps. Try to take them just one step at a time so you can see the progression here. Check your answer on number 9. How many got 13 as your answer? All right, if you did not get 13, look at your work, see if you can find where did you make your mistake. Should have started here to get 2, then square to get 1. By the way, you could combine these steps. You could do the multiplication since it doesn't affect the exponent and get the 12 and the 1 at the same time. And frankly, you could just go in order here all in your head to get the 13. But check your work, see if you can find your mistake. Looking at number 10, how many got 33 for your answer on number 10? All right, for those of you who didn't, check your work. Again, starting here with the parentheses to get a 4, then square it to get 16. Then go straight across with your addition. You end up with an 11, and since the 3 is up against the 11, we get 33. Looking at number 11, I didn't show this one because I thought this one's easy enough to talk through. Let's start with the parentheses class to get 0, and then we'll take care of the exponent, 5 squared, 25, and then we'll take care of the 8 times 0, 0. 25 plus nothing? 25. How many had 25 for number 11? Perfect. Number 12. The grouping symbol, here's the fraction bar, right? 12 minus 5?
7.
And we have 7/14, but I'm not going to leave that. I'm going to reduce it to 1/2. Careful. 1/2. Number 13. Let's start with the parentheses.
5.
5. And then we still have another grouping symbol, that fraction bar. So we need to do the 5 times 3.
15.
15. Then divide by the 5.
3.
And now we just have 3 plus 5 is 8. Number 14, should have gotten 10 for our answer. How many had 10 for number 14? All right, perfect. In here again, within the grouping symbol, exponent first, then add the 8. This is also grouped, so I can take care of that in the same step, end up dividing before you do the multiplication to get 10 for your answer. Number 15, how many got 16 for your answer? All right, check your work here. Again, here division and multiplication can be done at the same time to get an 8 and a 10. And then 18 plus 8 is 26, minus the 10 is 16. And the number 16 was a fun one. How many got 137 by the time it was all said and done? Okay, some of you just didn't make it that far, and that's okay. We got a grouping symbol here to get 4. And within the grouping symbol, the exponent has to go first to get the 4. Then 15 minus 4 gives us the 11. Then I'll take care of the exponent. Technically, I could also take care of this division as well because it's disconnected. To get the 2, I went ahead and did it in a separate step. Then I've got the multiplication of 2 times 11. Then I've got all addition and subtraction. So I add and then subtract the 10, and that's where we should have gotten the 137. Questions at all on order of operations? Yes, sir.
I accidentally multiplied 127 by 11, and I got 244 after I subtracted everything. I don't know what I did.
Okay, so you added right here before you multiplied. And remember, we multiply before we add, which would have made your problem a lot easier too, by the way. Besides making it also correct, which is the more important thing, but easy's good too. All right, yes, so don't add until the multiplication and division is done. Good, any other questions, comments on this section? Let's go through number 17 through 24, and how could I rewrite number 17 using the commutative property, Danielle? 5 plus 3. How about number 18? How would I rewrite that? Evie?
8 plus, open parentheses, 8 plus 4, close parentheses, plus 3.
Good, and use the technical terms there too. Open parentheses, 8 plus 4, close parentheses, plus 3. Number 19, with the commutative property, bless you, Aubrey.
4 times 2, 4.
I think that's a 12, right? 4 times 12, good. 4 times 12. What about number 20, Lexi?
5, open parentheses, 2 times 9, close parentheses.
Good, 5, parenthesis, 2 times 9, close parenthesis. And it's okay to run the 5 up against that parenthesis as well, because that shows multiplication. We don't need an extra multiplication symbol, because we are lazy. Number, bless you. I think you're allergic to something. Number 21, with the distributive property. Hayden?
10 times 8 plus 10 times 3.
Good, 10 times 8 plus 10 times 3. Number 22, a lot of different ways, bless you, you could go with this one here, Michael. Commutative property.
3 times 6 times 10.
Sure, that's one of them. There's a lot of different ways, but 3 times 6 times 9 works great. What about number 23 with the distributive property? If you can hold off the sneezes for a moment. Glenn?
2 times 1, 7 plus 2 times 7.
Well, it's not a 2, it's a negative 2, so...
8, 2 times 1 times, plus negative 2 times 7.
Good, negative 2 times 1 plus negative 2 times 7. What about number 24, the associative property? Let's come back to Danielle.
14 plus open parentheses, 4 plus 3, close parentheses.
Outstanding. 14 plus, open parentheses, 4 plus 3, close parentheses. Great job. Questions on those properties? I feel like we've got those down pretty well. That's a good sign. Numbers 25 through 33 now, working with adding and subtracting signed numbers. 25 to 33 at your seats. Do you need tissue, Glenn? Sure. Several people finishing up. Take just a little longer. All right, check your answers. I'll go from number 25 down to 33. Number 25 is 12, or positive 12. Number 26, negative 1. Number 27, negative 7. Number 28, positive 7, or just 7. Number 29, negative 8. Number 30, positive 2, or just 2. Number 31, negative 13. Number 32, positive 18, or just 18. Number 33, negative 17. How many went 9 for 9? You were perfect. All right, 8 for 9, just missed 1. 7 for 9? Questions on any of those? Say, I didn't get that answer. Can you go over it? Any questions? Turn the page. Do 34 to 42. 34 to 42. you again. All the people who are homeschooled are glad their homeschooling not in here right now. Bless you. Can you spray some Lysol between you two?
Yeah, let's do that.
I can
I
just do
can find
this.
my Lysol.
Go get a
Uh-oh.
Well,
Go get a tissue and wipe your nose or something. You're all slurpy and stuff. Like, try blasting out whatever's irritating your nose, but over there. Everyone else is like, where's my mask?
Right here. He knew he's working.
It's true. Several people finishing up. Take just another minute or so. Bless you again.
Maybe it's electric to me.
Put like one of those bubble umbrellas over him or something.
get
Sneeze
one of those
guard.
other-
One of those
Bubbles, like,
human hamster
One of those giant ones, yeah, a giant
Yeah.
hamster ball.
A giant hamster.
Shove them in it.
Well,
He
he
would
would
be
be
able to
able to
fit
fit
in the possum
everything.
or a wall.
You can make one of the vertical ones. You can roll around the floor. It'll be fine.
Poor Glenn. He's like, I'm dying and nobody cares.
No.
We're suggesting alternatives.
Suggesting that we
could
care? Is
just-
that what you're saying?
No, we could just kill him, and then it'd be more humane that way.
Oh, for shame. For
Genesis-
shame. For the record,
I
the
was
student who
joking.
was speaking a moment ago does not actually want to kill anyone. It was a joke. They know
It's a
each
joke.
other really well, and she likes to joke about killing him. Anyway, it was a knee slapper. She was hoping for a face slapper. She's kidding. All right, numbers 34 to 42. Let's go and take a look at these together. Check your answers. Number 34 should have gotten positive 8 or just 8. Number 35, negative 30. Number 36, positive 72 or just 72. Number 37, positive 6 or just 6. Number 38, negative 12. Number 39, negative 24. Number 40, positive 11. Number 41, negative 9. And number 42, negative 6. How many went 9 for 9 this time? Perfect on all of them. Anyone just missed one? All right, any questions on the one or ones we missed? Any questions? Turn back to page 116. Turn back to page 116. Once you do that little review section, we have one more 9 for 9 opportunity. So one more little set of 9 in here. You will want to use order of operations for those last 2 problems as you work.
Wait, what problem?
The review section, the 21 to 29. So another little chunk of 9 problems to work.
It bugs me. I thought I had Lysol too. Lysol wipes, but that doesn't exactly help.
An air freshener, that doesn't kill germs. Or lead.
Can kill his stank though.
Yeah. Deodorant would do that.
No, that's not strong
We're
enough.
picking on Glenn. Poor Glenn. Kyla's like, y'all stop picking on Glenn.
No, she picks on him.
She picks on him too, okay. just another minute or so to be finishing up. All right, put your pencils down. Let's take a look at these together. Check the answers to the ones you got done, even if you didn't finish. Number 21 should have gotten -9. Number 22, positive 32. Number 23, positive 29. Number 24, negative 29. Number 25, negative, because there's 3 of them, 288. Number 26, positive 15. Number 27, negative 4. Number 28, we needed to do the addition first, then the division, then the multiplication, then subtract the 9 away. And we get 54 for our answer. So parentheses, division, multiplication, subtraction to get 54. And number 29 should have done the division, then the addition, and then done the final division after that grouping was taken care of to get 5 for your answer. Did anyone go 9 for 9? All right, how about 8? Or how about this? Perfect on all the ones you did. Maybe you didn't finish, but perfect on the ones you did. All right. Anyone just missed one of the ones you did? Just -1? All right, I'm going to just miss 2 of the ones you did. Questions on any of the ones we did? Any questions? All right, Monday we will be taking a quiz in our next lesson over signed numbers. You get some more practice in your homework over the weekend. Page 136. Page 136. Numbers 44 to 61. Page 136, numbers 44 through 61. We'll take a quiz on Monday, and then we'll talk about those sequence thingies that we looked at briefly for just a moment. Of course, you see some visual sequences there, really cool stuff. How many like those COGAT tests? Where you have like number patterns and stuff? You like the number pattern? Oh, okay, never mind. Just curious. All right, nobody liked them. Jaden liked them. All right, thank you, Jaden. Y'all have a good day.